Hey everybody, how's it going? If you can hear me, type something in the chat box. Yo. What's up, Bob? Thank you for joining us. We got Corey here. Cool. We'll just give everybody give it a couple more minutes here. Letting folks jump on. We got Allison in the house. What's up, Allison? All right, so we'll be getting started here in just a couple minutes. So who has some, go ahead and get started in the chat box, if you will. If you've got something you want to chime in on, or if there's something you want to talk about on this call, I want this to be of value to you too. In addition to the content that we have, I want to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. So like I said, if there's something in particular you'd like to go over that would really help you get off to a great start here in 2019, by all means, type it in the chat box and we'll make some time for that at the end of the call. Corey, where are you from? Orlando, cool. Awesome, awesome. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So other folks will probably be chiming in here shortly. My name is Scott Gregory. I have been doing real estate here along the Emerald Coast for about 19 years. We have an expansion location in the Tampa Bay area with our very talented partner, Bob. And I'm also a national coach with Club Wealth Real Estate. And I coach about 5 agents around the country. And that's it's really exciting to see them move ahead in their careers. My wife Lisa and I run the real estate team. We're still in production on the team too as well. We have 8 agents on our team, and we have 3 administrators on our team that support our agents. So, like I said, I've got experience on this all the way from, okay, I remember what it was like doing this by myself, because I did it for many, many years by myself. So for those of you who might be just getting started out, or maybe you've been struggling a little bit, we've all been there. we know what it's like. But the fundamentals that we're going to talk about here are not going to change whether you're a brand new agent who hasn't sold a house, or if you're an agent that's been doing this for 2 decades, okay? Everyone needs to be doing the same things consistently and working on the fundamentals consistently. We talk about in our coaching program, Club Wealth is the coaching program. There's a lot of single agents in there. There are also a lot of teams in there. And Michael Hellickson teaches us with our clients, to just basically don't lose sight of the fundamentals. And, we're not going to be showing any bright, shiny objects here today. We have absolutely nothing that we're going to sell you. This is all content. This is all info for you. So did anyone, let's see, what was your year? Type in the box. Is there anybody here with us that hit all of their goals in 2018? Just go ahead and type it. A few of you could type in the box. That would be great. We did not, Lisa and I did not hit our goals in 2018, but we did almost double our business, which was exciting. So, you know, what would it look like if you were able to, basically, if you were able to, you know, to hit those massive goals in 2018, 2019? The first thing, the first thing we have to look at is, why are we doing this? Okay. Um, you know, this is a question that I like to talk with my team with a lot. I like to talk with my coaching clients a lot. Do you really know why you're here doing this? Um, there's got to be a reason, because you could have done all sorts of different things, but what is going to make you step out of your comfort zone in 2019 and do the things that maybe you don't want to do, you know? Because I got to be honest, there's some things that I'm not excited about doing every day, right? You know, I'd prefer to sleep in. You know, I don't want to get up early. I would prefer to sleep in. I like my sleep. You know, there's people that I need to have conversations with that maybe I don't want to have that conversation. You know, so there's things that we have to do every day in real estate. And I'm going to say that the tendency is to kind of think of, okay, well, everybody else doesn't feel this way, but I do. And the reality of the matter is, almost everyone feels the way that you do. Okay, almost across the board in real estate. They have the same fears, they have the same concerns. They don't, you know, they feel uncomfortable stepping out of their comfort zone. You kind of have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit in real estate, don't you? Yeah. You know, so, you know, ask yourself some questions about why you're doing this, and then, you know, get real focused and be real honest with yourself about that too. You know, don't give the pat answer. A lot of times there's a tendency to go to a default answer. You know, oh, I'm doing it for the kids. Well, yeah, maybe we are a little bit, but why are you doing it? What would make, and let me ask you this, what would make you step out of your comfort zone and do some things that maybe you don't want to do to get what you really want? If you can wrap your head around that, there's really no limit to what you can do. Okay? So what we need to do is just get hyper focused on what really, really matters to us. Okay? Um, you know, your success in real estate, you're not going to wake up one day and your fear is gone, right? And everybody's got fear, and everybody also has limiting beliefs, right? What are the limiting beliefs that are preventing you from really stepping out and really succeeding at this at a high level? Do some thinking about that, you know? You know, for some of us, it's maybe, you know, maybe I'm not good enough. I was there for a long time. I still am sometimes. That thought goes through my head. You know, you're talking to somebody, and then the drunk monkey, that we call it, the voice in the back of your head all of a sudden comes out and goes, they don't like me, you know? And the question is, are you going to keep doing what you need to do every day, or are you going to listen to that? And, you know, like I said, we've got to, the one thing I'm going to encourage everybody to do in 2019 is be brave, okay? Make the commitment to do what you know you need to do every day to get what you want for yourself and for your family, and to get something different. Because the reality of it is, if we don't do something different in 2019, we could have a repeat of what happened this last year, good or bad, and maybe worse, because the market has shifted a little bit, hasn't it? Okay? So if we don't get hyper-focused on doing the right things each and every day, we're going to have a repeat of the year we just had, which could be a repeat of the year you had the year before. And that's what tends to happen. So let's take a look at what are some of the things that we need to, what I want to spend our time on is what are some of the things that we need to do differently, or at least need to get serious about in 2019 in order to move forward in the business. Okay, so the first thing I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. I want everybody to grab a pen and some paper. And you're on webinar, so I can't tell if you're doing this or you're not doing this, but I can tell you it is important. It's vitally important that you do this exercise, okay? So what I want you to do is grab a pen and paper, and I'll give you a second. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about goal setting first, okay? What I want you to do is let's go ahead and write some goals for 2019, okay? And I don't want you to write things that you're not committed to. I want you to write goals that you go, this is important to me, and this is important to my family. And I may not be perfect at it, but I'm 100% committed to doing something different this year than I did last year. Okay? So what we teach at Club Wealth is we teach our clients to write SMART goals, okay? And what that stands for, it's an acronym. What it stands for, SMART is, S is specific. What exactly will be accomplished? M is measurable. How will you define completion of this goal? A is attainable. Is it possible? You know, you're probably not going to go from a deal or two to 300 this year, right? But as you're figuring out what you're doing, you're going to get better and better at what you do, and you'll be able to do more business and get more systems in place to do that. But what could you do? Could you go from 0 to 20 deals? Could you do 20 or 30 deals? I believe any of you could if you did the things we're going to talk about here today and on the next call. I firmly believe anyone, regardless of their experience, age, anything, if they will put into place the things we're going to talk about here on the next two calls, there's no stopping what you could do. Okay, anybody could make could go from nothing to a six-figure income. Doesn't matter what your background is, you know, doesn't matter your skill set. If you're committed to following what we're talking about here, you can do that. There's no question about it. So A is attainable. Is your goal possible? R is relevant. Is your goal relevant toward your purpose in life and your overall vision? Again, getting back to why am I here? Why am I doing this? T is time sensitive. What's the deadline for completing your goal? So every goal needs to have a deadline on it. Okay, so what I want you to do is grab your piece of paper, and we've got several areas that I want you to set goals on in 2019. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the first thing we're going to start with is your family goals. What I want you to do is write out 3 family goals and the date that you're going to accomplish them by this year. Okay, so I'm going to put on a little bit of music here, and I'm going to give you some time, and I'm going to read you some examples of what those might look like.
You could take the treatment of your ulcerative colitis in a different direction. Talk to your doctor about Xeljanz, a pill, not an injection or infusion, for adults with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. Xeljanz is the first and only FDA-approved pill for moderate to severe UC. It can reduce symptoms
Okay, so let's go with our 3 family goals. Examples of this would be I've restored 2 relationships that I've become distant with my family by December 31st, 2019. I planned and kept great vacations with my family to Maui in Europe by December 31st, 2019. I've doubled the amount of quality time with my kids. I take 1 mini vacation per quarter. We take 1 long vacation per year. So in each of these areas, I'm just going to give you about a minute here to fill in the blanks. And if you don't finish any of those, go ahead and follow up with it. So go ahead, I'll give you about a minute here to complete those. Just another few seconds, we'll finish and move on. Okay, the next one I want you to write down 3 goals for will be your business goals for 2019. Okay, so set 3 business goals and the date you'll accomplish them. Some examples of this are my net profit for 2019 will be $75,000. I've increased my sales volume by 50%. I've decreased my expenses by 50%. I've grown my buyer team to 10 agents. I'll give you 6 seconds. I'll give you about 60 seconds. Okay, some of the got bumped off. We started out set our 3 family goals and the dates that we're going to accomplish them. And now we're just finishing out our business goals for 2019 and that we're going to accomplish them. Okay, let's go to financial. With the financial goals this year and the dates you're going to accomplish them by. I'll give some examples. I've paid off all consumer debt by December 31st, 2019. I've increased net worth by $10,000. I have savings accounts possibly get spent in. I pay cash for it. By February 15th, 2019, I'll have a financial plan set for 2026. Go ahead and give me their 3 goals. A few more seconds. Okay, we want to set goals on. The next one would be mental physical health goals. So let's look at what are your 3 mental and physical health goals for 2019. Here's examples. Begun an exercise program for 5 days a week by January 15th, 2018. I eat nutritious food 5 meals a day, 5 days a week by January 31st, 2018. At least 64 ounces of water daily. I've written a book a month that can help me personally or in my business. I finished my college degree. I've written a published book. So we'll go ahead and we'll give you some time here. About 20 more seconds. Okay, last time we're looking at spiritual goals, and that can be whatever it is that means to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be it's a particular religion. It's whatever spiritual means to you. So go ahead and set 3 spiritual goals for 2019. Some examples of that would be: I have 30 minutes of meditation time, journaling per day. Regularly attending church services once a week. I'm consistently contributing 10% of my net income to good causes. I'm using my gifts to support all the others. So we'll give you some time here. What are your spiritual goals for 2019? And the date you're going to accomplish those. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is, I also want you to think, this one's going to be a little bit selfish. I want you to think of one thing that you want just for yourself, that you really have always wanted to have or always wanted to do, that you could do if you hit your goal this year. So, there's no judgment on this. Just pick something that you've just always wanted to do or have, that hitting your financial goals this year would allow you to do that. What would get you excited? So go ahead and jot that down. I'll give you just a minute on that. Okay, so now let's just go back and look at in each of these 5 categories. I want you to circle one of those 3 things. What's the one thing of those 3 in each of those categories that you will accomplish in 2019 no matter what? You've talked about it enough. You've thought about it enough. You've kicked it around enough. But it's worth it to you to do something different in 2019 than you did in 2018. Or so if you're new in the business, to step out of your comfort zone and learn and be willing to step out there and really go after it. So what's the one thing? Go ahead, and I'll give you a little bit of time here. Circle of those 3 things in each of those categories. What's the one that you're absolutely 100% committed to accomplishing this year? Okay, cool. So, again, I know that wasn't a lot of time, and these are some pretty deep questions. If you didn't get to finish all of those, go back through, schedule some quiet time, and go back through and make sure you complete that, because it's really, really important. And I want you to take these, and I want you to keep them out in front of you. I want you to review them. You can review them every morning if you want to review them every morning. But just remember why you're doing why you're going to do what you don't want to do. These are the reasons why. Okay, these are the reasons why, you don't need to be great. You just need to be brave and do your job every day to hit the goals that you want to hit for yourself and your family. So keep these out in front of you in whatever way you can. If you can read them every day, great. If some of you, there's a concept called a vision board. If you're willing to put up pictures of what these things represent, and keep that in front of you at your desk every day, that's a great idea. We do that with each of our coaching clients. So, keep it visual, keep it in front of you. And if you're having any challenges with any of this, reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk you through it. Some of these are pretty tough questions. So, okay, well, let's get to, now we know what the goal is, okay? So what are we going to do on a daily basis in order to make sure that we hit our goals, okay? And the first thing I want to talk to you about is your daily schedule, okay? This is something that everyone battles with for basically the rest of their lives in the real estate careers, right? I mean, we can talk about this on every call with coaching clients, and sometimes we have to. But the thing we want to do is, are we getting better and are we moving forward toward what we're trying to accomplish? And the question we have to ask ourselves is, am I doing what I need to do every day, really? Or am I doing something else to hide from the fact that I'm not doing what my job is every day? Okay? And I've been as guilty as that as anyone, right? There's a lot of places to hide, but we need to remember what the job is and keep our sight on that. If we don't do the job every day, if we don't do what's important, we're not going to get what we want out of real estate, and then, the fallout rate in real estate right now is astronomical. I mean, I've heard some it's pushing 90% in 2 years. That's rough. I mean, that's really, really rough. And I don't want that to happen to anybody, which is why we're doing these webinars and we're doing trainings, and we're committed to, getting everyone to realize that, hey, it's going to get tougher out there, and we need to do what we need to do every day to make sure we're hitting our goals and moving forward. So the first thing I want to make sure of is that, okay, we got into real estate. Every single one of us, I think, is the same thing. We got into real estate because we could make our own schedule, right? I didn't have a boss telling me what to do. I could do what I want when I want to do it. Guess what? The same reason we got into real estate is the same thing that's sinking us. It's that we're not, we can do what we want to do, and nobody's going to say otherwise, so we do, right? There's a book that Gary Keller wrote called The One Thing. And the question you're going to ask yourself in each one of those areas that we talked about today on setting our goals is, what's the one thing, such as by doing it, everything else would become easier or completely unnecessary? Okay? And if you could really drill down and get to that answer, the quicker let me put it this way, the quicker you get to that answer, the faster you can move forward in business and life. Okay? So, you don't want to have a to-do list of things. You want to have one thing in each one of those areas that if I spent more of my time doing that every day, it would increase my odds of success. Okay? So you always want to ask yourself, go through each of those areas and ask yourself that question. Could someone chime in the box, being a real estate agent, whether you're on a team or whether you're a solo agent, what might that one thing be when it comes to real estate and your success? Go ahead and let's have somebody type it in the box. Nobody's got a guess? You know, if you did this one thing every day, there we go. Good job, Corey. Thank you. Scheduled daily prospecting. I agree with you. I agree with you. That's 100%, right? So getting back to the schedule here, we're going to talk about that at some length. And, you know, again, my intention is we're probably going to spend most of the next call that we're going to do next week at this time talking about really diving into that same thing, right? But, you know, the first thing we want to do is make sure that you have some form. We have to start working off a schedule. This isn't negotiable. You got to do it, okay? But here's the thing, the schedule is not your captor. The schedule is going to set you free, okay? And when you wrap your head around that, when you realize I've done the things that I need to do, and now I can go live my life and spend time with my loved ones, it's freeing, okay? So the path to freedom when it comes to this is actually the scheduling, right? So the first thing I want you to do is get some form of a calendar. Okay, you can use your Google Calendar. I don't care what it is. It can be a printed calendar for all I care. Okay, but I want you to make sure you're using one in 2019, and make sure you've gotten this in place before the end of the year if you're not already doing it. Okay. The first thing I want you to do is go through that calendar and mark off your vacation days off, okay? And if you have a weekly day off that you just do not work, or if it's half a day that you do not work because of what you've decided as a family, I want you to go through the 2019 calendar and block that off, okay? So that's the first thing you do. If you have any training events that you're committed to attending, go ahead and put those in your calendar as well, if you know when they are. You know, some of you have brokerages that have national events, anything like that. If there's something coming up in 2019 that's already set and you want to go to that, go ahead and schedule that time off. Go ahead and schedule your family obligations. Okay, that's another one too. If you have, if there's something that you need to do family-wise every day, go ahead and put that in your schedule too as well. So once we do that, okay, what we're left with, if you start doing the math, is somewhere around 240 to maybe 280 days that you'll be working during the year. Okay, so now we know when our time off is. We've scheduled time to be with the family, and now we know when we're going to be working. Okay, so now we want to get into what we're going to do every day when we're working. Okay. If you have any, very few people will actually do this next exercise that I'm going to talk about. Okay. But if you're willing to do it and willing to see how it comes out, actually, write down every 15 minutes for a week what you did in every 15 minutes. Set a timer, and then when the timer goes off, write down everything that you did in the last 15 minutes, or 30 minutes if you want to do it that way. Okay? I think you'd be surprised at how little got accomplished. and we all do it, right? So what's the biggest distractor that we all have now? It's the phone. You know, we got to somehow we've got to somehow figure out how to get the phone to stop sucking up our time. Okay. I have had people take Facebook off their phone. You know, there's an idea, and I've thought about that. But what can we do? You know, you don't have to be. I know some people disagree with me on this. My real estate coach would probably be one of them. I don't think you need to be that rigidly scheduled 24 hours a day. I think if you schedule the important things, the one things, that gives you some flexibility and some more freedom. But you have to schedule the things I have to do every day to get paid. Otherwise, there's trouble ahead. So let's talk about between. Okay. Let's start with this. What time are you getting up? That's a big deal, and it's something. The minute I start talking with my coaching clients on this, they want to run for the hills, right? But I'll tell you this: successful people get up early. They do. They have to. There just isn't enough time in the day. So if you're rolling out of bed at 8 o'clock, you're probably not going to get where you need to go personally and professionally, right? My real estate coach is now getting up at 3 a.m. Okay. You see, that's my limiting belief. I would have a very hard time getting up at 3 or 4 a.m. Okay. But I do know that if I'm going to hit my big goals in 2019, I got to get up earlier, right? And it starts with basically it starts at the other end. It starts with when you go to bed. It's not so much a problem of getting up early. It's a problem of going to bed on time. So you're going to have to determine what getting up early means to you. But if you get up early, you have the opportunity to have a tremendous day by noon. Okay. If you're getting up early, you have the opportunity to work out, to meditate, to journal, spend family time before they run off, before they're running off to school, and basically just get at it at a decent hour so you can get done in the morning what you need to get done. Your morning routine. There's a book called the Miracle Morning that I would suggest that all of you pick up at some point. Essentially, it's saying that your success is predicated on what you do from the time you get up until the time you start work. There's a whole lot of things that you can accomplish in that time that make your life better. So, I'll leave that to you to decide, but basically you need to be ready to go in a minimum by 8 a.m. Okay. Oh, good. Corey just read it. That's a good book. So let's talk about 8 to 12 a.m. Okay. What would you say? Tell me type in the chat box what permissible activities take place between 8 and 12. And I'll tell you what I think. Go ahead. I mean, there's a fair amount of them. Like not just prospecting, calling. Who are we talking to? If we're talking to someone, who are we talking to? I'll start. Let's just say talking to your sphere about business. We have past clients in sphere. Okay, we got sphere. We got past clients. That's good. Who else can we be talking to? FSBOs? Okay. We got internet leads, cool. I agree. Expired listings? I'm down with that. Circle prospecting? Circle prospecting is calling around listings, open houses, recent sales, and the like. There's data sources that allow you to do that. So what else we have? How about door knocking? We can do door knocking. Lead follow-up? You know, you want to have a balance. You want to have a balance of new lead generation and following up on leads. Okay. So lead follow-up. Is there anything else anybody can think of that's permissible between 8 a.m. and 12 a.m.? How about educating people on Facebook? Probably not. That's pretty much it. You know, these are the only things that should be taking place before you go to lunch. And yes, if you're getting started in the business, whether you're on a team or you're not on a team, you know, you're going to need to do more lead generating until you have a pipeline full that's continuing to, that allow you to hit your goals, right? So we have to get fanatical that between 8 a.m. and 12 a.m., nothing else is going to take place, right? So how do we do that? One thing I would recommend we do, it's obviously a lot easier if you have a team, someone on your administrative team could be answering the phone. But if you're doing your own thing, you could leave a voicemail saying that you're generating, you're marketing, you're looking for buyers and sellers between 8 a.m. and noon, and you return all calls between 12 and 1. You could do that. But you don't want to, make sure that your inbound calls, that you're protected from inbound calls, because it just takes one to really throw off your day. So come up with a system that works for you to get rid of your inbound calls. Goes without saying, no social media. That's not the time for social media turn off your notifications on, if you're going to need your phone probably for doing your business. If there is some way to take your phone and lock it up until it automatically unlocks at noon, that would be perfect. But I assume that's not the case with most people. But make sure you've turned off your notifications on your phone, because otherwise, you're making calls and all of a sudden you're starting to see them come rolling in, and you're wondering what's that, and it just kind of leads you down the wormhole. So go ahead and turn off the notifications. Text, there's another one. What else sucks your time? Email. I'm a big fan of no email until the afternoon. I believe that most things that are a tremendous problem at 8 a.m. somehow take care of themselves by the time you get to them at noon. Whoever was having their drama figured it out. So I would certainly, like I said, try to limit email if you can, unless you can entirely get rid of it before noon. Drop-ins. Wherever you're doing your lead generation from, we want to make sure that you build a bunker and make sure that nobody can get in. There isn't anything unless the building's on fire. You don't need to be bothered, during that time. Daydreaming is another one. And of course, coaching people on Facebook about real estate. So if you can work to eliminate those time-sucking activities from your day, so you can focus on what you need to do. You'll be a lot better off. It also helps if you have a clean desk around you and a clean work area. I struggle with that. But if there's something on my desk that can distract me, it will. So having a clean desk and there's nothing in front of you except the leads you need to call is also important. So if anybody has any questions about anything, by all means, or anything we want to cover here, just go ahead and type it in the chat box. We're going to get deeper into lead generation on our next follow-up call. In your calendar, create recurring appointments. So if you're lead generating between 8 and lead follow-up, doing lead generation, lead follow-up between 8 and 12 every day, put that in your calendar every day that you're working. Just go ahead and put it in, because now it's an appointment, right? So go ahead and fill out the year and put that in, because nothing's going to get in your way on that. A few things I wanted to add about this. How many people do you think you need to talk to every day, new people consistently? So let's talk about this for a second, right? The other thing that you're going to need, okay, in 2019, you have to be accountable to someone. I don't care who it is, okay? But I have to answer, you have to go, I have to answer to someone to make sure I'm doing what I need to do, okay? If you're not accountable to someone, you're going to hide. And you're going to tell yourself a story you shouldn't be telling yourself. So the question becomes, what do I need to be held accountable to, and who am I going to be held accountable, to it? So what I want you to do is figure that one out. What are the things, what is my one thing that I need to be doing in each area of my business every day? And am I tracking it? Because we have to track it, right? That's another thing. And who's holding me accountable to doing it? What happens if I don't do it? When it comes to something that's important as the one thing in each area of your life, you can't duck out on it. If you duck out on it, nothing is going to work, right? It's all going to blow up. It's denial is what it is. And we all do it. So decide for yourself who you're going to be accountable. You could have, it can be a coworker at the office. It can be your broker. If you're on a team, obviously it's your team leader. But am I really willing to track what I do every day? And am I willing to be held accountable to it to make sure that I hit my goals? So, okay, for me, basically, my job is to generate listings for the team and to recruit agents to the team that would be a good fit for us. I really don't have any other job. I mean, yes, I coach the agents on my team. Yes, it's important. But I need to make sure, first and foremost, that those two things are getting accomplished. We're getting listings, and we're talking to agents about the opportunities that we have. I cannot let those things slip away. Okay. So for you, you've already said, it's already been agreed upon that lead generation is your one thing when it comes to your real estate business. So how many people do you think let me put it this way. A lead, a contact is someone that you've spoken to about real estate the first time. And, if there's a real estate need in their life, then I'm going to follow up with them. So after I've talked to them, they're not a contact anymore. They go into lead follow-up. And lead follow-up is vital, and we're going to get into a lot of depth about that on our next call. But I really want to know, but basically what we want to do is, okay, if you're talking to your sphere of influence about real estate or inviting them to a client event or something like, I'll count that as a contact. That's fine as far as I'm concerned. But how many people do you think you should be talking to every day consistently? Can somebody type, can we get some numbers typed in the chat box? How many contacts should we be making consistently? So go ahead and type in some numbers if someone will, and then we'll talk about that. 12, we got 12 to 15, that's good. Anybody else have a thought on that? 30, okay. Okay. Okay, let me, on both of those, we don't know what the answer is until you've tracked your numbers over a period of time, okay? So, and that's not a week, it's not a month, it's probably more like 3 months, okay? And we're talking about your contact numbers. It also goes back to who you're talking to also, because obviously if you're cold calling versus talking to, you know, FSBOs and expireds, you're going to have a lot more opportunities to get appointments talking to FSBOs and expireds than you are cold calling, just sheer cold calling. So that has to be brought into play too as well, and you should have a balance, right? But what we've found from coaching, and this is coaching agents all around the country, is typically that number is somewhere around 20 people. It could be a little bit higher, it could be a little bit less, but typically speaking, it's if you talk to 20 people consistently, that's 5 days a week, every working day, you're almost certain to hit high goals, you know. And if you've got any sort of follow-up system whatsoever, you know, for conversion to help you with that, you're almost a lock to hit your goals if you're doing that. Okay. So this is where the rubber meets the road though, right? Is there any other job other than talking to 15 or 20 or 30 people a day? And to me, the answer is no. Okay. So that's something that we can't take out of our business plan in 2019, right? We can't somehow say 5 is okay, or 10 is okay, or 0 is okay, because I got busy and I had something going on, right? We have to get that, have to get our heads wrapped around is that's the job. And it doesn't always need to be like this too. What you're going to find in real estate is you're going to be building a pipeline. The conversations you're going to have today are going to pay you down the road, okay? So it's not like your conversations today were wasted if you didn't get an appointment. They're going to pay you down the road. We had an agent that just today's call talked to someone back in May. They're finally got their credit issues fixed. They're going out looking at property soon, you know, and that's going to be a paycheck because he stayed with that person. So that pipeline that you're building is going to make it easier. You're also increasing your sphere of influence, and that's going to make it easier for you as you go. So, you know, some of the things that are going to make this business really, really hard especially if you're newer, it's not like you got to do it forever, okay? You just need to do it for now and build that pipeline and keep building your database, and it gets easier in that regard. You're gonna after you do this long enough, you get some of the come list my house calls. You know, you're just not out. You know, don't have to be out. You know, when you're 70 years old, beating the bushes, hoping an expired or a FSBO falls out as a listing. You know, it's going to get easier for you. But like I said, that it doesn't get easier for you if you don't do what you need to do consistently. So commit to that. Commit to how can I talk to enough people to meet my goals consistently. Okay. And if you're having some struggle with that, reach out to me. I'll be happy to help. Almost everybody in real estate struggles with this. It's almost 100%. Okay. The difference is those who do it, those who commit to doing it and then do it consistently, rather than doing it in spurts. They're the ones that that have this, that really just have great success. Do not let this market shift scare you. It's actually a good thing for the agents that show up and work. Okay, so you'll get more market share if you do what you need to do every day, and then when the market swings back in the other direction, then it's really a bonanza. So, like I said, don't let the market shift concern you at all. We just keep doing, I was employed in the worst real estate market that we'll ever see, and it wasn't always pretty, but we got through it okay. And I don't think we're ever going to see anything close to that again. So, don't be concerned. Sellers really need you when the market is starting to be, when we're now in a normalized market. I know it sounds funny. People are like, oh, it's a shift. It's like, no, it's actually more of a normal market. It wasn't normally like it was when we had the run up and the downturn, and then now this last run up again. It's taking a little bit longer to sell homes, and you have to be priced competitively, and they have to be marketed, and these are all good things. So they're all perfectly normal. So don't have any concerns on that front, but I want you to ask yourself, okay, whenever I ask an agent how much money they want to make, they almost always tell me $100,000. Almost everyone answers the question the same way. Said, okay, so I'm going to pay you $100,000. Okay, you're going to come to work for me. All right. Now we're going to go back and we're going to look at the schedule that we talked about. Okay. Would I be out at the beach at 2:00 on a Wednesday if you worked for me? Would you be out at the beach? Would you be having a 3-hour lunch with your friends? If you had worked for me? And the answer is no. I mean, if you have a job, you have to show up at your job and perform. Okay. So it's the same way in real estate. Nobody's going to pay you, meaning karma, fate, the system. You're not going to make $100,000 in net income if you're not following your schedule and doing what you need to do. It's just not going to happen. Okay. So the clarity is, when I finally get clarity on that point as an agent, that's where things can really start to change for us. Because, my coach always told me to hang up a sign in front of me that says, is what I'm doing right now making me money? That's a great question. Is what I'm doing right now really making me money? And if you'd ask yourself that more regularly, it would help. Okay. Again, there's only 4 things that make you money in real estate. It's lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, and negotiating contracts. You can add practice and role play in there too, I suppose, because it's important to your success. But everything else is necessary, but it's not dollar productive, right? So what we do on our team is we came up with a system where we're removing all of that other stuff from an agent's plate so they can spend more time in their dollar productive activities, which is those 4 things. So ask yourself the question, in my real estate business, if I'm looking at my schedule, how can I spend more time doing those 4 things? Okay. And if you spend more time, if you spend significantly more time doing those things that actually put money in your pocket, you're gonna have tremendous success this year. Um, that's that's the focus. It's like, what do I need to be doing every day? What's my job? And can I spend more time of the day doing it? When you start to when you start to think about it, there's a lot more time in the day than you think, right? So if you're not hitting your goals, and you don't have any appointments in the afternoon, go lead generate again. The very best time to catch people is between about 3:30 and 6:30. That's a great time to catch people. So many more people will answer the phone during that time than will normally. And the reason why we don't all do our lead generation between 3:30 and 6:30 is because if we did that, then the day something would get between us and the day. We'd go do that instead, and then we'd never get any lead generation done. So we always coach our clients and we coach our team. Call your leads in the morning. If you have an appointment in the afternoon, go on your appointment. But if you don't have an appointment, then turn around and keep lead generating until you have enough business, okay? You want to have a list of buyers that you're working with. You want to have 5A buyers, 5B buyers, and 5C buyers. A meaning someone's going to buy in the next 2-3 weeks. B buyers meaning they're going to buy in the next 45 days, and C buyers 45 to 90 days. Okay, that's your pipeline. If you can keep that in front of you and make sure that your pipeline is full, you're going to have a happier business and a more predictable business. You don't have that wave that real estate agents, I did 3 deals this month, I'm rich, I did nothing, oh my gosh, I have no money. And I mean, most agents spend most of their real estate lives going up and down that roller coaster. And it's the consistency of your daily activities that frees you up from that and gives you a predictable business and gives you more options. So, I would say, get on that schedule, be committed to the job at hand, which is in the job at hand is talking to enough people every day to meet your goals consistently. And the rest will take care of itself. The one thing I want you to believe is that it will work for you. Okay. Any of you can do this. I know you can do this. I've spoken to all of you. I want you to believe you can, and I want you to believe that this works, right? We see consistently, and in talking to the other teams, the minute, I can tell by somebody's activity what their numbers look like. If they're talking to enough people every day, and it comes out in the appointments that they have. But it's not really all that daunting, and we'll talk more about this next week. We'll get into the specifics of how many appointments you need to get each week. Okay, we're gonna really break that down on our next call, because I want you to see what that looks like. But it's not really all that much for an agent that wants to make $100,000 a year. Okay, it's really only a couple of 2 or 3 appointments a week, and that's not even assuming that everybody's gonna that everybody's gonna sign with you, or that everybody not everyone's going to sign with you. Not everybody who does is going to follow through. It's really not all that hard. It's not all that much. It's just getting to that point and making sure that your pipeline's full. Okay. The other thing I want to encourage you to do too is be patient with this process, especially if you're new to a team or if you're new to the business. Okay. Because it's going to take you some time to figure out what you're doing, and also in the nature of how buyers and sellers buy and sell, it takes time. I mean, you're going to the conversations I have today are valuable conversations. If I stay with them, they're going to pay me later. I want them to pay me today, but that's not always the case, right? I just listed a house this week that I listed a year ago. They they've taken a year to get the house ready for market, and they've had things come up personally and what have you. They signed the listing agreement before last Christmas. We just put it on the market today. We had to redo everything several times. But that's the way that it goes. I mean, it would have been great to get that home sold last Christmas and have it in the bank for New Year's, but it wasn't the case. But what happens is when you do your daily activities consistently, that business will fall out of the pipeline. And now, my activities that might get me 2 or 3 deals a month, here comes a fourth and here comes a fifth now consistently. So the big payoff for you is coming later. You just have to stay with it long enough. We have agents sometimes, they're not making money in 90 days and they're freaking out. I mean, and I understand everybody's got to pay the bills and stuff. It's going to take you some time to figure out what you're doing, especially if you're newer in the business. It's not uncommon for agents to join, basically come into the business, do 1 or 2 deals in their first 6 to 12 months, and then just absolutely blow the door off of it in 2019. And the reason why that is they found someone to coach them and hold them accountable, and they're doing what they need to do on a daily basis in order to hit their goals. I mean, it's that simple, and it can be that little change and that little commitment can make all the difference in the world. So we're running over. If anybody has any last minute questions, just go ahead and type them into the box. I'm excited that you all were here. Again, we're gonna pick this up on our next call. I know this is fundamental stuff. I know it's probably stuff that some of you have all heard before, but it's important. And it's something that everybody needs to do. Everyone in real estate likes to chase the bright, shiny new object. But it doesn't change the fact, there's nothing that changes the fact that our daily activities on a consistent basis are going to lead to the results that we desire. So, again, I want you all to know I'm committed to helping you in any way I can. I want you all to feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or you need me to walk you through some of this stuff. You all are going to have, if you go out and you put what you're going to learn today and next week into action in 2019, you're going to have a phenomenal year. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.